Hello, good morning. I have been thinking about some of the changes that have been felt in my experience and things that I've been seeing, feeling, noticing since some of the solar storms. First one is clumsiness. This is interesting, but it's like being a bull in a china shop. I feel like I'm like, every time I go into my bathroom, which is very small, it's like one of those bathrooms where you go in and like you're standing there and that's all the space. That's it. You know, there's the shower, the sink, the toilet, and then there's just space to stand. So typically I knock a bunch of stuff down in there anyway, because I'm not very organized in my bathroom, at least right now. I haven't cleaned it in like weeks, but it's like, I just go to do one thing and I knock everything over, and miraculously, even though I'm doing that, I'm like catching stuff too. So it's like fumbly, but also sort of dexterous and like coordinated. And that's been an interesting dichotomy, because it's been funny to see myself just like swipe things off of surfaces and immediately catch them in a way that I wasn't prepared to do. And so it's like just, I'm seeing it as like this like spirit body, like a little bit of a fusion happening between the new energies and our physical management of the new energies, resulting in clumsiness. So that is a collective energy. I've been watching other people be clumsy and I've talked about it with a few people. What was another one? In addition to clumsiness, we have the dream. The dream states are showing us timelines that are coming in. So they could be things that are collapsing as you purge, either, well, not physically, probably doing some physical purging as well, as our bodies are interested in dropping density. So that could be shifting appetite, as in wanting more food so that you can, you know, fill up your digestive tract, and then your body will purge. And what it is you're getting rid of, like I would recommend taking activated charcoal tablets at this time, because that will bind to toxins or material within your digestive tract that your body hasn't made use of, and excrete them, like bind and excrete it in a way that doesn't happen when you don't have that charcoal agent to trap those things, to help you get rid of them. So increase in appetite, but what's more likely at this time is probably a decrease in appetite, especially for high vibrational people, because you're just acclimating to the energy that's already here, and you're breathing it in, you're anchoring it in, you're anchoring it into your body, anchoring it down into the earth, and allowing it to be the energy that you have, like your life force energy, without adding food to that, because your body breaks down food to give yourself energy. But we're already full of energy right now. Even though we feel a little bit exhausted and a little bit like we were put into a microwave. So to that point, there's something too about like really being hydrated. Think about deserts and droughts and stuff. It's like intense solar energy. Creating the need for a little bit more like lubrication, right? Water is conductive to electricity. And in your body, it will help receive the new energy without feeling like somebody tased you. If you drink just copious amounts of water right now. So that's the other thing, shifts in thirst and appetite. And then another one, and I briefly touched on this in a video from the other day, is changes in your actual sight. I've been getting tons and tons of, I've been seeing just little glimpses of like energetic entities and beings, light orbs, different colors in the sky around the sun, the way that the sun's light is reflecting through the clouds. Like, I don't know what they're called. Yes, I do. Sundogs are little spots that look like rainbows, but they're not linear rainbows. They don't go in an arch or like a little streak. They're just like spotches. People know what those are. I basically was seeing those for the past couple days. They've been in different parts of the sky, and I think that a few things are true here. I was like, is my vision evolving psychically? Is the world's atmosphere evolving? I was like, it's two things happening in tandem. Both things can be true. And it's very interesting, because in some ways, well, this is one of my favorite pieces of information to whip out of nowhere and remind people of, but the visual light spectrum that we can perceive with our eyes is less than 0.5% of the light that's in existence. less than 0.5%. That's a very small amount that we're able to see. It doesn't mean that it's not real or that it's in existence. We've proven that it is. We've measured it. We're aware that it's there, just kind of like the unexplored parts of the ocean or the universe. It's there. We just haven't been able to perceive it. So it can be true that our eyesight is increasing in its ability to perceive more photon wavelengths than it was before. But it can also be true that these colors, maybe this energy, it was always there, but it wasn't, because the earth is changing with the energy, but in general, it's like a tandem growth thing where we're seeing more, but what is being able to be perceived is also increasing in vibrancy or availability, if it's available to be perceived. So maybe this could be seeing things around people, like the movement of energy around people's heads or bodies, like their auric field. I typically, when I see people's auras, I can see people's auras every day if I would like to. It takes a little bit of time for myself to get into a space where I'm quiet and or a person is in an environment where I feel like I can see their aura instead of just, motion and commotion. Little flashes and bits of movement, but the easiest way to see anybody's aura is to have somebody stand still and stand against a white wall where you can really get the contrast and start to have your eyes pick up on the subtleties and the movement and the color and the energy that's around them. But on any given day, I get to see movement and pattern around people's shoulders, necks, and heads. That's typically where I see movement in auras. And that's been increasing for me. It's not just if I'm sitting listening to somebody speak for a while. It's like people passing me by, I'll see things sort of with them. It feels to me like it's becoming really apparent, the attachments that people have energetically, the energetic attachments that people have are going to become very apparent to them. Even if they're not a spiritual person talking in this way or having these conversations, it's going to feel like stuff that just can't continue. Whatever that is, it could be habits or ways of thinking. It just can't continue. And there's a reason for me too. Like, I've been talking about quitting smoking for a long time. Quitting smoking, quitting nicotine for a long time. I just dropped it. It's a hard thing to do, and I've always said to myself, I will stop doing it when I want to stop doing it. Are you gonna let me? Thank you. And I've been getting the pull to genuinely want to stop doing it, because my body is not tolerating it anymore. Like, I'm getting sore spots in the nerves of my molars from smoking so much. And I'm like, I don't want this. This is bad. You only get one set of teeth. Once they fall out, they're not there anymore. So, like, I don't make the rules, right? I've been pushing the envelope with that for a very long time. And you have to be able to heed the signs from your body. And if you're conscious and aware, your body shows you what it likes, what it doesn't like. And if you're not conscious and aware, and you invite things into your repertoire as far as what you put on or in or around your body on a regular basis, if it's harmful to you, it's because there's something that you're not acknowledging. You're blocking your flow state of your spirit. That's what you're using that thing for. And I've been in a state of reliance on nicotine because of what the spiritual breath, what the breath does physically to the spirit. And it's miraculous since the solar storms how it's enough for me to just breathe deeply. I don't really want, I had probably 3 cigarettes yesterday just because I found some and they were available, and I was like, not even, and I was like gonna bring one into the car to smoke it on the way home. The car has historically been the bane of my existence when it comes to smoking, because who just drives? You just drive? Yes, I'm doing it right now. I just didn't get it before, right? And like I've crossed a threshold where miraculously I know that many people would be like, yeah, you just drive, idiot. It's not that hard. Well, it is sometimes for people who have been in entrenched patterns of, this relationship where I think, oh, morning time coffee equals cigarette, or get in the car, driving, sunshine, roll down the windows equals cigarette. Like, these are associations that we forge in the brain, and when there's a chemical dependency involved, it's all the more difficult. So just like rapid shifts in what we're able to release what our bodies are trying to eject out of our lives, and then on top of that, what our spirits are trying to eject from our lives based on what just doesn't resonate with us anymore. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Oh, I got a message that I recorded as a voice memo yesterday when I woke up, and I was gonna post it as like a blog post on my website, like an update under the updates tab, but I don't think it's that long. I was gonna transcribe it and I didn't have time, so the message was about authenticity and inauthenticity, so I will put that on the community page today. I'll go transcribe that voice memo. I don't remember what it was about, but I basically woke up in channel talking, which has been happening more and more. So people who have been having very activated dream states, pay very close attention to what it is your brain is doing, your thoughts are doing, right as you transition from the sleepful state to the wakeful state, because there's going to be interesting stuff to be gleaned from that brain state for you. Just take some notes or take voice memos. It's basically a preview into the truth of what is happening right now, and just never forget that your spirit and your soul, like the entirety of who you are outside of just being in this physical body on the 3D earth plane, the entirety of who you are, there's so much happening right now, so much activity, and so your exhaustion is valid, your disorientation is valid, the aches and pains in your body are valid. But and there's a lot of people out there who are feeling this or might resonate with the changes that I'm talking about, but they're not necessarily like skilled practitioners that have the tools available to move energy and clear things out. I believe everybody is a self-healer. I think that's how we're designed. We haven't been educated and nurtured into understanding what that means and how to access that on the individual level. You know, it's not a universally accessible and taught thing, self-healing. So if you are in a certain type of condition that feels critical, where you're like, I'm undergoing so much dropping of density, so much in the ascension right now, my body's changing, the way I'm thinking is changing, reach out to somebody. It doesn't have to be me, but I can help people with that. Even if it's bodily, it's possible to do remote healing on somebody's physical body, because time and space is an illusion through the quantum field of interconnectedness, and it's possible to infer things as an energy healer when you're not physically present with somebody through the space-time continuum by tapping into the energy. So it could be with the body, or it could just be emotional, like counseling or spiritual counseling on certain changes and being able to get a deeper look into what's happening. So I give sessions, but there's tons and tons of people who also give sessions and support who are out there. And if you're concerned or not having a good time with all of this, because honestly, if you've been putting in work to change in a conscious way, whatever that means for you, for the past, I just saw somebody on a scooter go by and she had a helmet on and there was angel wings on the top of that. So I'm taking that as a synchronicity because that was cute and you don't see that every day. Little angel flying by. I believe that if people have been conscious and putting in work to move through these changes, you're gonna be feeling pretty good and pretty optimistic, because you can see what's happening in the collective and it's beautiful, it's magnificent. There's never been an uptick in consciousness since we've been alive. I don't even care who you are. You could be 95. It's exponential and it's not slowing down, and it's very interesting, and the rest of the year is going to be wild and everything. But on the other side of that, I was just going to say other people might not be having a very good time with it, and there's a little bit of fear that comes in when we're crossing through different valleys of unknown territory, and there's a lot of little gremlins waiting in those valleys of fear to tug at your ankles and remind you of things that are outdated, and you can do double takes all day, but just don't get stuck in that. And sometimes we need other people outside of us to validate the changes that are happening for our highest good. If we're not used to doing that on our own, or if we're surrounded by people who are at a different, vibrational state and maybe they don't get it. And the other thing is that everybody's allowed to be at whatever vibrational energetic state that they're at. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean you're right. It means that we're all experiencing these changes, and it's okay to not understand, like my experiences when I'm talking about, and still be very much part of this and undergoing it in whatever way it's resonating with your body. The other thing, last thing that I'll say is that it's important to two things. It's very important to make the most of every single day. My guides are telling me that this is particularly important for me because of my vibration. I have the potential to just continue quantum leaping like radically as much as I want to. Everybody does, but just the work that I've put in and the plans that I have, every single day matters. There's no need to do, silly things and waste time, and of course rest if I need rest. But as far as sleeping all day, procrastinating, self-sabotaging, getting drunk for no reason, like any of that is done. Every day matters, and there's a lot to be done. And so I think that that's a message that is for me with some of the projects that I'm working on, but for other people too, as far as what are you waiting for? It's not a good energy to procrastinate in, because we are creating from the quote unquote eternal now. So however you feel in the present moment is how you're creating. I've done artwork on this in the past, and I've talked about it in the past, but think of it as a cosmic umbilical cord. The present moment is like an umbilical cord that you're braiding into your center, your solar plexus. Time, energy moving through you every single moment that passes. It's like you're braiding this matter into your being. You can receive the life force energy from outside of you as we continue to live on the leading edge of existence. The most recent moment is always where you're located, and you're braiding that energy into your being as you meet it, you greet it, you show up, and you're kind of like face to face with the present moment at all times. And it's weaving that matter into your existence, and so you can infuse it with positive or low vibration as you braid. And that's how you attune to what timeline you're on and where you'd like to go, and take some of your power back and your autonomy back as far as co-creation and manifestation consciously. And then the other point that I was going to say is that your body naturally will spike your cortisol upon waking up within the first 90 minutes of being awake, because it wants to get you up. And a lot of people just don't even give their body a chance to do that, or it's been deadened by the amount of caffeine that people just regularly intake upon waking. Like I'm in this camp, but for the past 5 weeks, I've been trying to do no caffeine mornings and just see what it does for me. And everything's so divinely led, like the things that I didn't know. Prophetically, I'm aware of things that are going to be taking shape in the collective much of the time, but I didn't know with the solar storms and the intensity how beneficial it would be for my body to, ahead of the curve, cut out caffeine a little bit and start to adjust to not having that spike, that double dose of spikeage in the morning, because you can sort of fuck up your natural system's ability to get yourself awake and alert and up the ante into this state of anxiety, or like getting tremors or trembles in your hands if you consume caffeine immediately upon waking, in addition to your natural hormonal shifts. And yeah, I just think that that's a tip as well. So what I do, it's very, very beneficial to drink cold water. I tend to keep a carafe or a pitcher of cucumber infused water, typically cucumbers, maybe sometimes lemons, but you just cut a bunch of them up, you put them in water, you put it in the fridge, and that is what I drink. Like a good whole jar, like 12 to 20 ounces of water first thing in the morning. It spikes your metabolism, and it helps you. You can also infuse the water like you do with intention for the day, just saying I'm welcoming beautiful, unexpected experiences that make me feel good. That's what I want today or something. And then you consume the water, and it's just a better way to start the day for a number of reasons. So I hope that that is helpful. I hope that people are hanging in there. I'm really drawn to do a card reading. I really wanted to do one last night, but it didn't feel, I felt too scatterbrained. if I sit down and try to channel, I had mentioned when I posted a video from the car the other day that I've been recording videos for like a week and a half or a week. It's true, but they're never just like properly channeled for the collective in a way that's coherent. It's just this mishmash that has been sort of this constant stream of information that's been obliterating me. A lot to focus on. So it's one of those times that makes me, and this could be a message too for somebody, if somebody's been processing psychic downloads or their own thoughts and emotions, taking to a journal or taking to like written note instead of channeling verbally. It's been helping me ground the energies recently, just getting things out. And also just as a byproduct of that, there's really beautiful visions coming through for paintings. Just no coincidence as well. The painting visions that I'm having at this time are illustrating the changes that we're going through, so that's beautiful. Maybe one day I'll be able to paint things more quickly. I get visions and then sometimes I'm not able to paint those visions for months, if I ever do. And I see the buffer between vision 1111 on that license plate, 1111. I see the buffer between having divinely inspired ideas for not just myself, but other people as well. And when you actually execute them, getting smaller and smaller because people are moving into ways of living that really honor and prioritize their creative flow, because we understand that that's not like an aftermath. It's not like something that we can just cut out of our lives. It should be prioritized because it helps us stay healthy, I think, like spiritually, mentally healthy, to have some type of way to process and flow energy. Like the faux pas, in my opinion, is when people don't understand, when people demand that there's a purpose to their artwork. There doesn't have to be a purpose that you're aware of. It's an activity. The product, the byproduct of the artistic process is often beautiful art or interesting art or hideous art. It doesn't matter what you're making. It's the process itself that does something to you, to your body, to your energy. And my guides have been not only begging me to get into creative flow and just go into channel and make artwork because of how much energy I would be able to bring through and how much it would like heal me and open me to be in that state. I don't know why my blinker was on. But also to do that like at a big scale, like have a huge canvas, be able to engage my body, you know. People who are channels understand this. Like if I'm an artist in channel, I can paint a picture and basically forget what I'm doing, and then like 6 hours go by and I'm like, oh great, it's looking good, it's done, whatever. But there's another kind of channel that I haven't really gotten into, and I will be getting into it later in my life, but it's like where I really surrender my body mechanics to the energy. And like if it's a canvas that's taller than I am and I can use my arms like almost like pendulums, like I will be blocking out shapes and forms that way to get the images in, and it's going to be a little bit more of an unobstructed way to bring energy through and put it into artwork. I'm supposed to be, as I don't want to touch on this, actually I will a little bit, it'll be a cliffhanger, a way to end this video so that I can update on this matter in a later time. There was a video that I recorded last week and I got a strong message to not put that on the internet. Not a good idea. It wasn't a good idea at that time to put it on the internet, but now it seems like it's okay. There's been something about my path and my artwork and what I'm supposed to do that's been delayed by about 3 to 4 years because of this blockage that's been cast upon me. And it's very, very ancient beef. It's past life energy. It goes back to ancient Egypt. It goes back to what I was doing and who I was in ancient Egypt, in at least one life, because if you know about ancient Egypt, there's people who are alive today who have had multiple lives in ancient Egypt. It wasn't just a short kingdom where you could have one life and then you were gone, you know. I have in the past recalled a past life from Egypt where I was a man. I was a man who helped in a lot of... I didn't have the best quality of life. I wasn't that high up on the totem pole, but I was gifted with tablatures and carving and stonework and like scribing. But I don't know. I wasn't a slave, but I wasn't that high up above a slave in terms of caste or however it worked back then. But in a different life, I was a healer and I was married to somebody, and this kind of relates to a piece of writing that I wrote like weeks ago now about the concept of twin flames and something I've been experiencing in my personal life that I was just airing out for whoever wanted to read it. This connects to that. So I had a husband in this life and we had 3 children, and we had a really good thing going with what it is that we're capable of energetically together when we're together. Really powerful energy. And there was over 180,000 slaves back then that we wanted to free. And I, like I do in this life, like I have in many others, had a really strong connection to my hands and being able to heal people with my hands, being a healer. Like a hands-on healer in this life with Reiki energy or whatever it is, whatever modality. I have a self-created modality for hands-on healing. But there were forces at play who didn't want for the slaves to be freed and didn't want for the impact that we had on the people to be successful. And so in order to save and protect myself and the children that I had with this other person in this lifetime, he went with the bad people and was a spirit who was capable. I'm not capable of doing dark things spiritually. We can all be swept up, you know, by different forces and have attachments and stuff. But in this life, you know, I talked about, weeks ago I shared, no, maybe this was months ago now. It was this past life vision that I had. It was this sort of like astral projection thing. I was stuck in this dream for a while where I was like in the almost Middle Ages, but it was after that. It was after the Middle Ages, but I was part of this horrible group and I did horrible things. And it was like my soul couldn't take it. And I believe that I took my own life in that incarnation because I was part of a dark group of beings and I didn't like that life. And spiritually it wasn't aligned. And it's sort of a similar thing with my husband from this ancient Egypt past life where like he could be allowed to live as I could, but we were separated for the rest of our lives. He ended up taking his own life because he was miserable, and something spiritually was done to the both of us to bind us from being able to access our power, to be together, and to do anything that would have that influential of an impact for the rest of time. And that has been identified and it has been unearthed. And I actually have a team of 8 light workers in Arizona, like working on this for me, actively clearing it, looking into it in the energetics and lifting this blockage, because it makes perfect sense to me that this is part of what's coming up in my like healing and integration right now, just based on the things that I've been recalling in general, you know, in addition to that. So that's a pretty big one to integrate. And when the clearing is done, yeah, it's going to go as a nameless force, but it's energy that has walked with me through lifetimes, to block what it is I'm supposed to do spiritually, and that needs to stop. And karmically, it's just not good. It's not good to try to limit other people's power, FYI. So I'm not going to talk about how I came into the knowing that's a thing and that needed to be removed and addressed, but that's been a huge deal for me for the past like week as well. That's why I haven't been posting as much. I've been working through that, and it's been affecting me energetically. It's been giving me dreams. I've been getting more recollections about the whole situation. And yeah, I'll just talk about this later. Hope everybody's doing well. This was supposed to be a quick video, but yeah, have a great day.